You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, this is Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. We certainly appreciate you coming by the show. If you're listening to the show 10 years from now, like many of you do, comment on some of our oldest videos. This is, we just passed April 1st, 2023, and I played a joke on my social media audience on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I lived through it, evidently. But we announced on April 1st, Fool's Day, that the Chris Voss Show, there was a pending announcement that was coming today on Monday that we'd been bought for a multi-million-dollar deal by Amazon. And, of course, the show is on Amazon already and Audible as well. You can download on Audible, which is weird because the show's not a book, but it's on Audible. So make sense of that. I don't know. And you can find it anywhere on the interwebs. So I made a April Fool's joke that the show had been bought by Amazon. And some people actually bought it. And they know that I'm a snarky joker sort of person, which surprised me. And you know, I don't know if some of my well-wishing friends just are like, yeah, let's just placate the idiot for a while and pretend like we bought his BS on April Fool's Day. But some people actually bought it, and I actually had to privately write some very famous people and say, hey, just so you know, I don't want to embarrass you, but that is an April Fool's joke. So the show was not bought by Amazon in a multi-million-dollar deal. If you believe that, well, the show appreciates your love and support, and it's going on 14 years. Damn it, somebody buy this show already. I don't know that I'd sell it. I like having control over everything. I'm kind of a narcissistic person that way. So in other news, that didn't happen. I don't know what that means, but we are in 2023. We have an amazing 30 book plus author on the show. She's returning from her previous appearance on her show. The Personal Librarian was the shows that she was on, and it came out, when was that? We did 308 shows last year, so I'm still trying to find feel my legs. June 7th, 2022, she come on the show, and we have Victoria Christopher Murray on the show. You may have heard her, may have seen her, especially if you're familiar with the Lifetime original movies channel. She had 4 of them. Holy crap, 4 of them. She's returning for an amazing new book that's come out April 4th, which is tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow, she says. April 4th, 2023, and so does Amazon, wherever fine books are sold. Her newest book, this is part of her seven Deadly Sins book series, which I think is describing my life. This one is called Pride, the 7 Deadly Sins, and comes out in a variety of formats. You can order wherever fine books are sold. Victoria Christopher Murray is the New York Times bestselling author of more than 30 novels. Her novel, The Personal Librarian, which I mentioned earlier, which she co-authored with Marie Benedict, check out that episode, was an instant New York Times bestseller, and her novel, Stand Your Ground, won an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Literary Work Fiction. 2 of her novels, Lust and Envy, have been made into TV movies for Lifetime, and you can visit her at her website. We'll get that from her in a second. Welcome to the show, Victoria. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be back with you.
There you go. And give us a .com where people can find you on the interwebs.
Well, my name. So it's easy. VictoriaChristopherMurray.com. And on social media, everything is Victoria Christopher Murray.
There you go. And I think on the last part of your Amazon thing is an update. It said 2 of your novels have been made into TV movies for Lifetime.
Yeah. So 4 have already been made, and the 5th one comes out this Saturday.
There you go. I'll let you yell at your publisher for not updating your author page.
Oh, exactly.
There you go. Well, thank you for coming back to the show. We really are honored and appreciate it. Give us, what motivates you want to write this series of book or this book in addition to your series? I'm imagining you're just trying to keep up with the series of all the 7 Deadly Sins at this point.
Yes, it that's all it was. When I started writing the Seven Deadly Sins, I can't say that I was really committed to writing a series. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's 7 books.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm a little commitment phobic, so I just wasn't sure. But what happened was after I wrote my very first book, just not too long after that, Lifetime came calling.
Mm.
Somebody was interested in producing it. They took it to Lifetime, Sean Robinson, and so now I had to write 7 books. Um, and so it's very easy. You know, the last 7 years in this part of the genre that I write in, it's been easy. I wrote Lust, then I wrote Envy, then I wrote Greed, then I wrote Wrath, and now Pride. So
Wow.
not a lot of thinking to do in terms of the subject. Of course, I then had to put the story together.
It sounds like you're describing my life. Lust, envy, greed, wrath, and pride.
That's right. That's the 5 that I've done.
And then, the next one is probably Chris
Glut-
Goeth Before the Fall or something.
the only 2 I haven't done are Gluttony and Sloth.
There you go. Well, you can still write those about me as well if you like. Anyway, enough about me and my lifestyle. So give us an overview of this book, kind of a broad 30,000 foot look, if you would.
Yeah, so this is a story. This one is one of my favorites because it has a little bit of a mystery to it. This is a woman who, of course, she's going to be suffering from pride, but
Mm.
she was homeless as a child and she clawed her way to the top. So she feels she has done it all. She doesn't
Mm.
need any help.
Mm.
And the book opens up with her needing some help because
Mm.
she's been getting these mysterious texts from someone threatening to bring her down. And
Oh,
she's
wow.
done some shady things in her past that may bring
Mm.
her down. And she doesn't want
Wow.
to come down that way. So she has to ask an ex for help.
Uh-oh. That's not something women like to do, asking exes for help or.
And that's the first page.
Of course, it depends on how good looking it is. You know what I mean? I don't know what that's about. But
Yeah.
sometimes you get those exes that call you, protect you, after a year or something. You're like, "Yeah, you miss me? What?" So
Yeah.
now,
And this was an ex-fiance, so they were
oh,
deeply. Yeah.
wow. I don't think any of my ex-fiancés would take my calls. I have 2 of them. So I
How
don't
many
think
do you have?
I have a lot of exes.
Ex-fiancés.
I've been single all my life. I'm pretty stubborn that way.
Okay.
So is the characters in your books, for people that are familiar, since this is a book series, is the characters in your book the same person, or are you using different women in each of the different books?
That's a good question because when I wrote the first novel, Lust, I had to make that decision when I wrote the second one. What did I want to do? And I
Mhm.
decided to make them totally different people. In fact, I chose 5 so far, different cities. And the only thing they have in common is this, that they're part of the series, The Seven Deadly Sins.
Mhm. What do you think? What do you think is the real key? Do the novels, you kind of follow a formula with the novels? What do you think makes this one kind of different? Can people pick? It sounds like people can pick up the series anywhere
Yeah,
in the
and
7 novels. Okay.
anywhere.
And
I
what
think
do
what
you?
makes, I'm
Go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead with your answer
No, I
on that
think you were
question.
saying what makes them different to
Hmm.
people. I think people are fascinated. Everyone has heard of the 7 deadly sins.
Hmm.
And so and I was smart. I started with lust. Because that's the one that people are like, oh, I think I may have a little bit of that.
Got some lust
And
going on.
I think once I started with lust, like I'm not sure any of the other ones would have been the perfect first one.
Hmm.
But I think it was the perfect. And once I got people in lust, I got them hooked. Because
Ah.
one of the things that I think I've done is I've never forgotten the word deadly
Mm.
in the 7 deadly sins.
Hmm.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, it probably gives you a lot to work of, because you can be like, okay, well, here's the next 7 deadly sins, and you can do that. What are you going to do when you run out of all 7 deadly sins? You're gonna have to like start making some up.
I know. Well, that's interesting that you say that. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. But in the beginning, in the middle, I was starting to think, I wonder if I should do like an eighth deadly sin and call the book The Eighth Deadly Sin, because
Yeah.
nobody ever heard of that. And then I could do something like revenge or something. But, I've been writing also historical fiction, and I really like that. So I think I'm going to kind of let this go. And this will be like my swan song in contemporary fiction.
Well, it seems to be popular with the Lifetime crowd. Maybe you should do like you can just start making up your own deadly sins, because there's a lot of them. They're stupid and dumb and ignorant and people who I don't know. There's probably
but I think revenge is a good one.
Revenge is a good one. That's something that can get you murder. That's some murdering maybe going on there.
Yeah.
So is it, is there like some life lessons incorporated in your books as to maybe an example of what not to do, since we're talking about the 7 deadly sins? That's kind of the point of them, is like, don't do these or else.
I think these are cautionary tales. I don't set out to say, okay, let me teach this lesson, because I'm suffering from them as well. So I can't teach anybody anything. All I can do is write about it. But I think they do serve as cautionary tales, because people say, "Ooh, maybe I should stay away from that," or I've had some early readers with Pride, and with Pride more so than any of the other books, I've had people say, "Wow, I see myself really in this character." So I found that fascinating, that people are saying that more so than any of the other sins.
Well, the thing is, we love stories. We collect stories in this life. And it took me 50 years to figure out what we were always doing with TV and books and movies and television and stuff, that we were basically, we don't get an owner's manual. And so that's why I love my podcast series and having interesting authors like yourself on, and what you guys write is this is how we learn about life and ourselves, and how either to be better as ourselves, or maybe a reflection of ourselves in the mirror, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why people read. And even in fiction, you're able to get something out of it, get some life lessons out of it.
Yeah.
And with writing, I get to learn, because when I was writing the 7 deadly sins, I discovered something like, with lust, envy, wrath, and greed, those were all sins that you can see on the outside. You could see it. You can see someone lusting. You can see someone's jealousy or envy. But pride is an inward sin. And so it's very hard to demonstrate it on paper. And so that was something that was very interesting to me. So even as I'm writing these fiction novels that I totally make up, I'm learning something too.
There you go. Self-reflection. They say the teacher learns more than the student sometimes.
Yeah.
I should probably read the book, because I might have a narcissistic pride attitude, according to all of my exes. I don't want to take my calls.
You should check with them.
There you go. So, is there any romance with the, she's bringing the ex back into her life a little bit? Is there any romance?
Well, she's bringing the ex back into her life a little bit. And when she sees him again, she's like, why did we break up, in her head? So she goes through in her head, because he does agree to help her. She goes in her head, okay, we need to get back together. She thinks she's feeling that with him too, until he announces he's engaged.
Oh, there's a twist. So there's a whole journey that goes on there.
There's a whole journey. That's funny that you say that. Her name is Journey. Yeah, her name. So there's a whole journey for Journey. And how is she going to work with her ex, who now has a fiance next to him? There's a little bit of a twist with her and the fiance. I won't give away too much. So there's a pretty big twist with that. And then she's like, well, what should I do? Maybe I should bring somebody in my life so it's a mess.
It's a page-turning formula of dynamic characters, sexy and passionate romance, and high-stakes drama, touching on themes of faith and hold-your-breath suspense that builds and propels this absorbing, fast-paced novel to satisfying conclusion. This is probably the reason people love your books, is they love the adventure and a bit of romance that goes into it. I've had exes where after we break up and I'm told what a horrible person I am, they'll come back to me as they're dating the new guy, and then they'll actually take me to lunch or dinner and complain to me about the new guy. And
Oh,
it's kind
wow.
of yeah,
Okay.
I've had that a few times. And they find out the new guy they monkey branched to wasn't quite didn't turn
Yeah.
out quite as good.
That grass wasn't really greener.
And so I've sat there at lunches, going, and they buy. They come complain about him, and I'm just like, oh well, I'm thinking, playing through my mind all the things that they said about how horrible I was,
Yeah.
and so "Oh, he's not as ambitious as you." I'm like, well,
Yeah, you're just sitting there sipping your tea.
yeah,
You're not listening to them. Nothing you can say.
he went from the guy who owns all the companies to the guy who's the art teacher who makes $12,000 a year. Yeah, have fun with that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So there's a bit of fun that can be had with those things when exes call you back. I think we all go through that experience of exes and stuff. But sadly, people have got to order the book. We can't give the plot away and the ending away on the
Yeah,
show.
because there's a lot of all the books, this one allowed me to have more twists and turns because the genesis of the book is someone is stalking her and
Yeah.
threatening her but through text, and each one is getting worse and worse and worse.
Wow.
And
And then
she's been shady, so she has something to hide.
oh, she's been shady, and then she's got this person threatening her. There's a lot of that going on in today's world in real life too, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Where people are being weird on text messages.
Yeah, it's a scary thing, even with artificial intelligence. People, like, I have a friend who got an email from some strange person saying, "Send me $1,500, or I'm going to show people what you've been doing on the internet." I mean, it's just crazy.
Here's your browser history,
Yeah,
eh?
it's crazy and scary.
Yeah, I mean, I get extortioning messages all the time. Usually, well, instead of showing people what I do on the internet, they're like, we'll take it down so no one will know how stupid you've been on the internet. And I'm like, wait, this is a threat?
We'll just take it down. It's scary, but yeah. So she's involved in that, getting those kinds of text messages, and they can't be traced because it looks like it's coming from a special texting app or something.
A lot of that going on nowadays. So, what's it like seeing your movies transposed from book form to TV form?
Well, that's a really good question because I've only wanted to write books. A lot of people will write a book and say, "Oh, I want this to become a movie. I think it'll be good as a movie." I
Mhm.
never focused on that. I stayed just writing books, and because of that, I think I had a different experience than some people would have. Meaning, it was just like the icing on the cake to me. It wasn't the cake. And because of that, I could let Lifetime do with the movies what they wanted to do. And I just keep writing the book. So the movies look different than the book. But
Mm.
I think because the books are 300 pages, the movie can only be 90 pages because it's a page a minute and they have to allow
Yeah.
for commercial. And so I think Lifetime has done a great job of keeping the essence of my books. I always say the
Mhm.
movie tastes like the book. It's
Mhm.
not the book, it just kind of tastes like it. And so there
Oh.
are parts that you don't see in the movie, but they've done a good job, a really good job. And it is kind of interesting to see some of your words because they give it to a script writer to rewrite the whole thing for TV. But it is good to see, it's more of the concept that I see on there rather than my words. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it's more of the taste of what than my exact words, but it's nice every now and then when something I've written pops up. you know
Yeah. That's kind of interesting because you're like, hey man, you took my words. It's kind of like when you're in editing and they take all your words and they throw it all out and they start over again.
yeah, yeah. They take all the words, though they read. The great thing is that, of course, the script writer will read the book. And what I found interesting, Chris, was how many of the actors read the book. That
Oh
was
really?
the best part to me. Because with the first two books, they were filmed during COVID, so I couldn't be on the set.
Uh-huh.
And I had one of the actors, one of the men, say that he read the book and now he was a fan for life.
There you
And
go.
so I thought that was so cool. And these are guys that are reading the book. So that was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've written 30 plus. Is it 30 on the mark now, or is it 30 plus?
No,
Is there
it's a
you
little
have an
more
exact?
than 30. A few years back, I stopped counting at 30. So it's 30 something now.
That's prolific, and people seem to love them and pick them up, and of course they get turned into movies. Did you have any when you built the characters for this particular book? Did you have any maybe Hollywood people in mind, since some of your books are heading that way to the TV?
Yeah, and that's another good question. I don't write with Hollywood people in my mind at all. I actually, though, as I'm writing, I will get images of somebody from a magazine or something, but never an actor, just something so I could have a picture in my head of what the character is looking like. And so
Hmm.
then when people say to me, well, who should play this part? I can't move away from who was in my head that I spent the last year writing about.
Yeah.
So I have a hard, and not only that, casting directors, this is something that I've learned, are really good because of the movies which have done well and they've had great people. I would have never put some of the people in. Like Beyonce's mom was in one of them.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, she was in Wrath.
Uh-huh.
And I would have never put her in some of them. And then also, I would never think of singers as actors. And in so many of them, there were singers. Eric Benet was in Greed.
Mm.
And he was amazing. So I don't think I'm even good now. Not only was I never thinking about Hollywood people, but now that I see what casting agents do, I'm never going to try to do that because they are way better than me.
That's a great lesson for people who write, because I think most of the authors that I interview, they don't really have characters in their head from Hollywood. I don't know, I'm narcissistic enough to be like, oh, I don't know, somebody, and I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but I'd have Liam Neeson play me or something. I don't know, because I have that resting
You
bitch
go
face, and
straight
I
for
think
the
he has
top.
to.
Go straight for the top.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say the best person to play me in a movie with Brad Pitt or George Clooney, most likely, because we have such a similarity of face and look and attitude.
I
That or the
agree.
James Bond guy, any of the James Bonds,
Any of them.
except for that tall one in the '80s. He was a fine gent, but he was a little too feminine for me. Who's the Roger Moore?
Oh, the one
Roger,
before Sean Connery?
no, the one after Sean Connery. There was the one before Sean Connery. There was that one guy who's that one weird
Yeah,
one
he was
Bond
one,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, but I get stopped in the street so much, and people ask for my Brad Pitt autograph, and I'm like, I'm sorry
I
to
know. They're like,
disappoint you,
I'm
but
sorry, I'm not Brad.
yeah, yeah. So was there any incorporation in this? Of maybe experiences you had of texting or talking to exes, whether they contacted you
Yeah,
or you contacted them? Was there any sort of
yeah.
lessons that you learned to incorporate in the book?
No, you know what's so interesting? Because when I was a brand new author and I wrote my very first book, everybody read it and thought it was my life story. And I was like,
Really?
no, it's in my head. Then the second book, they're like, now, oh, she's just added to her life story. Then by
Wow.
the fourth book, I was saying to people, would you stop it? If all of this stuff happened to me, I'd be on somebody's couch, never getting up. And so, no, I just think that part of the gift of writing novels is having this imagination
Hmm.
and just putting it together from everything that we see, from television and movies and the person in Safeway. And I'm a people watcher, so I make
Hmm.
up stories, especially at the airport. When I
Oh,
see
wow.
two people together, I will make up a story and suddenly it's a novel.
Holy crap. Well, you have a lot of time in airports now, and there are a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
have a lot.
interesting
Yeah.
people there.
Yeah. There's my two favorite places where I've made up stories are airports and Starbucks.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
I'm like you. I'm a people watcher. I've always been I'm always curious about people's nature, and that's why I love the shows because I love having people on like yourself. And what's your journey through life, and what did you do? Because I'm bored with myself after 55 years. I'm sick of hearing about me. Although that's not true if you follow me on Facebook. But there's a bit of narcissism going on there. But it's interesting to me because I do watch people, and you're like, how the hell are those two people together? And you're like.
Yeah.
Even
Are
worse,
they
sometimes I
supposed?
look at even worse.
I asked, are they supposed to be together?
Yeah, sometimes I look at people and I'm like, and then I see their kids and I'm like, they had sex. Ooh, wow, with each other. With each other. I hope one of those. I hope those are the mailman's children because I don't know those people. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. I'm just being funny. People right now, someone's offended at home, going, seriously, me? That's my life. Anyway, but no, airports are probably fun to people watch because
Yeah.
there's a lot of crazy things going on in airports lately. People throwing
Yeah.
things around, and
Oh my gosh, that's getting scary.
you've given me a new series to think about writing novels in my life. I could call it the Karens,
Ah,
and I'll just take
ah,
Karen videos that are on the internet or TikTok and just do a
and
whole
make up
story
their
about
whole
them.
story. Make up their whole story. That's a series.
There you go. That or I've lived in Vegas for 20 years. I could do everything's an HOA in Las Vegas, and I could do stories about. I think I've had one or two authors have written books, novels about crazy ass HOA presidents. Yeah, we had one. We had one last time. We had one years and years ago. I've had some crazy ones. Like they drive by your house. They're almost like stalkers. You'll come out of your
Yeah, oh
house
yeah.
and they're in their car taking pictures of your front yard because your bushes are like 2 inches too high, and
Oh my
it's a
God. Oh
felony
yeah.
basically in their mind
Yes.
that you're being a travesty of a homeowner. But that might be a good series of novels, where
Yeah.
you know it's like just HOA presidents that are malignant narcissists. They're
Yeah.
teapot tempest, teapot little Hitlers running around.
Well, that's
They're
the only
just
place they have any power in life. They have
yeah,
no power anyplace else. So that's like ushers in church. The only power they have in life is to tell you where to sit. And so you're like, oh, I want to sit here. No, you must sit there. And that's their only power in life.
yeah, and they
I hope
used to
I
get angry at me because I
didn't-
pulled. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I hope I didn't offend any ushers in church right now.
Yeah, we've lost at least 3 of the ushers crowd. So, way to go.
I'm
We've turned away
sorry.
the 3 people in the church ushers audience. I'm an atheist, so we already lost most of the religion crowd years ago.
Okay, so
Uh,
they're not here.
yeah, but we have a lot of great religious discussions. We just had somebody talking about biblical, factual stuff last week and Armageddon, and that was a great show. So we have some of that in the show. Please don't leave the show just because I'm an atheist. We talk about religion and stuff.
Yeah.
We just don't really promote it like but the problem with talking about religion on the show is we're our own MLM, so we demand that people refer the show to family and friends in their downline. So that's how we get referrals and 5-star things in the show.
I
But
love it.
no, the thing that people get angry at me that are ushers, where I get the ushers upset with me is I usually take the money out of the hat that gets passed around.
You're like,
They're like, hey, you can't do that, buddy. Put the money back. Put the money
you're
back.
like, they're passing it around.
We've got to pay for the preacher's jet. And I'm like, okay, well,
Oh.
I want a jet. That's my joke,
You
people. We're
just
just being
lost
funny.
you just lost 3 church members. We are losing.
Damn it.
You just
Damn
lost,
it.
you lost the
I'm
3
down 6 in the
ushers.
audience. Thank God the podcast is up 30% this month. So anything more we want to tease out in the book, Victoria, to get people to go buy it?
Yeah, what's going to be interesting is people love reading a book and then comparing it to the Lifetime movie that comes out. So the book's tomorrow and the Lifetime movie is on Saturday. So
wow.
that's one. Yeah. So it's, really, it's much closer. Usually they give me 2 weeks, so people could catch up and read the book. So that will be interesting. And the movie features Stephanie Mills.
Okay.
who was on the Broadway and everything else that she's done.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was pretty cool to be up in Vancouver with them shooting with her there. But the
Mhm.
biggest thing is that it's a who done it, and
Mhm.
even if you think you know who's doing this, I promise you, you'll be shocked by the ending. I promise you,
Oh.
there's one take your breath away moment that you didn't see coming. And the only reason I know it is because that's not the way I wrote it at first. And I woke up in the middle of the night saying, I'm changing this.
Ah. Those surprise endings are what people look for, because I love that in a movie when you don't have a clue what's going to happen until the end, or you think you know what's going to
Yeah.
happen, and then you get surprised. The M. Night Shyamalan movies were
Yeah.
brilliant for that, because you just be like, I don't know how this. Although signs, I knew it was going to happen at the end. It was becoming a little too obvious. The foreshadowing was a little too harsh on
Yeah.
that movie of his, but
Yeah. Well,
most of the other movies.
we have to do the foreshadowing, but I promise the last 50 pages will have people saying, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this coming.
There you go. So is this going to be a Lifetime series movie then? Do you think?
This Pride?
Yes.
Yes, that the movie will be on Saturday.
Okay, there you go. So people can watch for that. You've kind of got Lifetime, pressured into doing all 7 books then. At
Well,
the pace
they're
you're
kind
going.
of pressuring me because I'm really ready to be done with it. I want to do these 5 of the 7 deadly sins, but they've done well. So we've got to figure out if I'm going to do, because I'm ready to move on to another genre. But because this is 5 books, this was a lot of books to write. Pretty much the same thing. It's been fun, but it's been a little limiting
Mm-hmm.
because the story is limited to the sin.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to, it's not like I can come up with a totally fresh idea. I've enjoyed it, especially with trying, because I always wanted to remember the deadly part of it, the 7 deadly sins, but I didn't want everybody to die in every book. So I had to figure out other ways that people would pay for their sin. And that's been fun. That's been fun. But so I'm not sure that gluttony and sloth are interesting enough stories. I'm not sure. One's about being gluttonous, having, overdoing it. And the other one's is about being too lazy to do anything. I just can't imagine a book about a lazy person.
That sounds like my life. Maybe join. I'll send you some. I'll send you some tips of my life. No, the gluttony seems like I don't know. You can just throwing out some ideas here for fun and giggles. There's a lot of gluttony. Can you say there's a lot of gluttony on Instagram and social media these days?
Oh yeah.
Seems like there's a lot. I
Well, the only
posted a
thing is,
pic.
I wonder how much of it is real. How much
That's
is
true.
it people showing?
Maybe that's the plot of the story there is, that people appear gluttonous, but the gluttony is the falsity of it. I was watching,
Ooh.
I posted this TikTok yesterday on my Facebook, and this woman has got these lip fillers. You know how they really puff them up and they almost kind of look like, they look clownish in my opinion. But
Yeah.
she has to have this little steel, it's like a brush, but it's a steel blade. It's not really a blade, but a steel thing. And what's happening is she's put so much lip filler into her lips that it starts to leave the lips and pour into her
Oh my
the parts of
God.
her flesh. And so she has to use this kind of
Oh my
scraper
God.
to push the
Oh my
things.
God.
And to me that's very gluttonous.
That's not worth it. That's
Yeah.
not worth anything.
It doesn't look that hot, but I don't know. Maybe there are guys that are in that. But to me, that was a form of gluttony that
Yeah.
you could write about. When people are doing all sorts of things to their bodies now, but implants and
Yeah.
everything else. I've had some people say they want that they want that Beyonce booty thing going on, and I'm like, you don't have to get an implant for that. You just wait a few years, and that thing will take care of itself. I've got one now. I've got a Beyonce bud now. I need too many tacos and burgers. So old
So
age tends to fix
that's
all
funny.
that for you. You
The
know,
next time I hear somebody say that, I'm going to steal that because now
go
that's
ahead.
funny.
Yeah, just be like, hey, just wait 10 years and eat enough
And you're going to
burgers,
get it.
and
It's
that'll
going to
take
be
care of
there.
itself. You know, I'm 55 now. It's everything's hanging down around the knees. So just give it time, and that will take care of itself. You don't need to add weight. You don't need to
I
permanently add weight to
know.
yourself. Now
No,
that
youth is
time.
wasted on the young.
That's very
You,
true. That seems to be what I've been becoming in my old age. I'm just that angry Clint Eastwood figure who's on the lawn going, yeah, get off my lawn.
get
Ah!
off my lawn. Get off my lawn.
The Gen Zers are like, thanks, Boomer, and I'm like, I'm a Gen
Yeah.
X, but you guys can't count anyway. Anything more we want to tease out of the books before we go, Victoria?
No, I didn't have it to read because I love not, I hate reading from the book because I always feel like you know how to read. And so it just sounds crazy to me to read a book, when people know how to read. But I think we've told a good part of the story, a woman who um, is in trouble. She knows she's in trouble. She's afraid of who's stalking her, but she's afraid more of the secrets that she's had to hide. And the only person who can help her is her ex.
Wow. Well,
That's the only person.
this is probably a good lesson for maybe a lot of women and men. Be nice to your ex. You may have to, call him for favors.
You may have to go crawling back one day.
I've
And
seen that movie.
exes hold, they hold grudges.
They do.
So they hold grudges, and so they're going to remind you of all the reasons why you're not together anymore, and it was probably your fault. So she has to swallow a lot of her pride because she's like, a couple of times she's like, I don't have to put up with this, and then she realizes, oh yes, I do.
We've all had those times with our exes. There's that moment. There's the kind of 6 months or 9 months, or it kind of, I guess, depends on your relationship. But there's always that thing where you always keep getting back together when you first break up, and you're like, oh, I miss this person. Then you break up, and you're like, oh yeah, it's you. I forgot you.
It's you.
It's you.
And he
Or
reminds her of everything. So many times she wants to go, but he's the only one who can help her. He's the only one she really trusts for this project. But she has to go through it. And then a new man comes into her life, and everything is turned upside on its head.
Is there some drama with his fiance, the ex's fiance? There's probably some drama there, isn't there?
There's some drama. There's quite a bit of drama there, because he didn't know her ex. Her name is Journey, and her ex's name is Ethan. And she is shocked to find out when his fiance shows up that it's her nemesis from high school.
Ah, it's a high school thing.
It's her nemesis. So many years ago, many years ago. But now she's wondering why is this showing up? Is she part of this stalker thing? So now there's a lot more, and everybody's a suspect.
There you go. Well, exes are probably a fun thing to write about because we've all had it. We've all had the experiences. Like I say, my exes always come back to me, and I think it's sometimes they like certain aspects of me, but the funnest times I've had is when they actually take me out to eat to complain about their exes, and you're sitting there going, well, this is lovely, and they're complaining about your exes, and you're just like, yeah, well, you had a good thing, you ruined it. Hey, pride goeth before the fall, eh?
Exactly. And that's exactly what this book is about, pride going before the fall, because she had to let go of her pride just to go back to her ex.
Yeah.
And that's the first page. Like the first line of the book is, he's the one who got away.
Women are
And
kind of obsessed with that men who got away thing, aren't they?
yeah, yeah. And she knows it. And so then just seeing, she hadn't seen him in 3 years, but she had to find him. She finds out that he's been kind of keeping some tabs on her.
Ah.
So now she's thinking, oh my goodness, maybe we're supposed to get back together. So she's all into it through a couple of chapters. And then she meets his fiance,
Oh.
who pretends that she didn't know who Journey was. It's a mess.
Ah.
It's a mess.
Ah. This is we had an author who had a book on the show where the a gal out of the blue gets her what was it? She gets a marriage invitation, and turns out she finds out that her ex-boyfriend is marrying one of her old friends, one of her old best friends.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's pretty scary, right?
yeah, that's pretty scary. So these are always adventurous, and women love these things.
Yeah, and we do. We love to hate them. I think but we love to hate them. We love to read a book where we're saying about someone, because we do want to root for people. But there's that person that you would say, oh my God, I can't stand them. But you turn the pages even faster with that person. And what I really just enjoyed about this book, and what the reviews have come back and said, is that besides everyone being a suspect, on every page, you just don't know what's going to happen, because you're wondering, well, is it her? Is it him? And if it's him, what does he want? Why is he doing it if it's him? But now I think it's her again. And oh, it might be her best friend from college. And she hasn't chosen the people in her life very well. And now they're all coming back.
Well, pride will do that to you. Pride will do that to you. I've kind of been through some prideful things where I haven't chosen the best people in my life.
Yeah, she hasn't. And then, I mean, but these were when you're kids, when you're young, you don't know.
Yeah, I'm still doing that now, though.
Okay, so you haven't learned the lessons yet. So
I'm going to read the book, so I do, and see the Lifetime movie.
Yeah, so, I mean, the thing is that then pride hasn't made you have a fall.
There's been a lot of falls, but I just never learn. That's why I'm going to read the book and watch the movie, is so that I can finally learn something.
Finally learn something about pride. But I don't know, maybe that's not your biggest deadly sin. Maybe it's not. That's not the biggest one.
I delve in all seven of them. I've been rolling in it. So yeah.
So you got to go back and watch lust, envy, greed, and wrath.
Yeah, I've been single all my life and dated all my life. So pretty much that describes my whole dating life. Anyway, Victoria, it's been wonderful to have you on and share this fun stuff you've been going through, and you've been so prolific as an author. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I thank you for saying that I've been prolific. What it really is that I have a great relationship with food and shelter, and I love to eat, love to live someplace. So I write books so I can get paid.
There you go. Well, it's always good to get paid for them too, as well. I hear that's important. Yeah.
Very important to me. Very important.
There you go. Well, Victoria, give us the .coms wherever you want people to find you on the interwebs.
Okay, so my website is victoriachristophermurray.com, and people can go there and read the first chapter of Pride, as well as the first chapter of any of my novels on my website, and keep up with me on my schedule and where I'm going to be. And then on Facebook and Instagram, I'm Victoria Christopher Murray. So it's easy to remember.
There you go. And is the movie that's coming out on Lifetime, is it going to be called Pride, Seven Deadly Sin Stories?
Yes.
Looks like.
Yes.
Okay. I pulled that up. We'll put a link on the show so you can check that out as well. There's a preview up now on mylifetime.com.
Yes. So that's what it's called. And it's called the 7 Deadly Sin Story, because it's like following the last 4 that they did.
There you go. Well, folks, order it up wherever fine books are sold. Always read the book. The books are better than the movie.
Yeah.
Usually. I'm not throwing shade at Lifetime, but it just is because there's more
Well,
data, there's more stuff
yeah,
you
because
can read
I
in the
get
book.
to use 300 pages and they only get to use 90 pages. But I promise you, with my last 4, even my readers were so pleased. And readers usually hate the movies, but but everybody was so pleased with what they did.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you for coming on the show once again.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, audience, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, all those crazy places on LinkedIn newsletter, all that good stuff. Be sure to follow the show. Give us a 5-star referral on iTunes. And there's no multi-million-dollar Amazon deal that we announced on April 1st. I can't believe people actually fell for that. It's April 1st.
I would have fallen for that.
Would you?
I would have fallen for that.
We've been doing the show for 14 years. I think that's what kind of sold it. And people know we
Yeah.
have a lot of great folks like yourself on the show. Anyway, folks, be good to each other. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys next time.